Hello, mythology students. It's Mr. Reynolds talking to you today about the concept of pantheons. Prior to this, we talked about creation myths, which explain natural phenomenon by blaming it on the gods or goddesses or other supernatural means. We called that personification, and we talked about how the gods were both physical beings with arms and legs and heads like us, but they were also the concept that they represented. So when you fall in love, that warm, fuzzy feeling inside is the goddess of love as well as the feeling of love. Meanwhile, she could be walking around somewhere else. Little weird, but we'll dig into that some more in a bit. All right, so pantheon, again, comes from the Greek word pan, meaning all, and theos, meaning gods. So literally, it is a list of all the gods belonging to one particular culture, people group, religion, or any polytheistic bunch of folks. Okay, and polytheism, again, from the words from many and gods, a belief that there are many or multiple gods by a particular culture, and then the pantheon is their list of those gods. All right, we are also talking about archetypes again. With the creation or origin myths, we refer to different styles of myths as archetype, and it usually dealt with how they began. It begins with primal elements, it begins with a cosmic egg, it begins with nothingness or water, etc. Where the gods are concerned, the archetype is basically what they are god or goddess of, their characteristic or value. In other words, we don't know who came up with the first sky god or the first war god or the first wisdom goddess, but we know lots of people had them. So we call the category the archetype. We know somebody came up with it first, the concept. And then the different names that we apply to that concept, whether it be Zeus, Aphrodite, Athena, those are the copies. They fall under the archetype of their quality, their character, the value. And we talked in class, it's kind of like all those teen movies that happened about 20 years ago or so, and you want to think maybe High School Musical. There's all these stereotypical teens. We don't know who the first jock character was in Hollywood, but we know everybody's got one now. So we refer to the jock as the archetype, and Zac Efron's Troy Bolton might be the copy from that archetype. Okay, so here's a list of different archetypes that we see with the various gods and goddesses. Sky fathers, generally male, live in the sky, associated with weather. Earth mothers, usually female. Mother Earth, associated with fertility, motherhood, and plants. Generally queen of the gods, which makes her different from a vegetative god or goddess, because the vegetative gods are a lot like Earth mothers, but they're not quite so in charge. You got Mother Nature, the Earth Mother, and then you might have a tree nymph. She's vegetative, but she's not the queen. Dying gods, well, they might die altogether, like Thor at the end of Ragnarok, or like some of the Greek gods, they just go away for a while and don't come back. That's still considered a dying god. Tricksters like to mess with people, teach you a lesson for your own good to make you a wiser person. Psychopomps, we think of the Grim Reaper, literally meaning the guide of souls. He will take your soul to the afterlife and make sure you get there okay once it's all over. All right, so you see different names here. You don't need to memorize the names, but you might want to notice that people like Demeter show up in more than one category, and that's because gods aren't necessarily just one thing. Some of them, like Apollo, have 18 different archetypes. Oh, good grief. No, you don't have to memorize all 18. But no, he was god of a lot of stuff. And that meant that where the Greeks were concerned, he was pretty popular with them. They liked him, so they put him in charge of many things. All right, and then if you watch this slideshow, which is in Schoology, it's going to go through and give you the different Wikipedia-style wordy definitions for each of these things. But that's kind of where we left off, and we'll remember the Titans next time. Have a good day.